Who are you loyal to? Chicago Democrats turn against their own to shield criminal illegal aliens from ICE. How many times have I been saying that the Democratic Party no longer is the party of the people? They feign like they are, they pretend like they are, but all you have to do is look at their actions and you can tell that they no longer care about the American people. They only care about pushing their agenda, even though this is not what the people want. This is why people overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump, because they're pushing this crap down your throat, and we don't want it. We don't want illegal immigrants in this country, especially the criminal ones, to be protected under these sanctuary laws that they're pushing. And the officials, they don't care. They're still pushing this stuff. So we're gonna talk about it, especially what's going on in Chicago. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. All right, so let's get into this news. Now, this comes from the Liberty Daily by way of DCNF, and they report that the Chicago City Council overwhelmingly voted against an amendment proposed by a pair of Democrat aldermen that would have scaled back the city's strict sanctuary law. The City Council on Wednesday voted to table a proposed amendment to Chicago's welcoming city ordinance, which forbids cooperation with local officials and immigration and customs enforcement, or ICE agents. The amendment, proposed by Democrat Alderman Raymond Lopez and Sylvana Tabares, would have allowed for some cooperation when illegal migrants have been arrested or convicted of certain crimes. I mean, you would think you would want to get rid of the people that commit sexual abuse and murders and things like that. You would think you would want to hand them over to ICE, but not in Chicago. The official vote tally was 39 yeas and 11 nays to dismiss the proposal, crushing any hope by the moderate Democratic members that Chicago could help deportation officers apprehend and remove criminal illegal migrants. The debate over the amendment included ruckus speeches from citizens on both sides of the issue. Liberal activists who occupied the city council building constantly cheered after opponents of the proposal spoke and shouted down supporters. In one of the earlier speeches, a man who identified himself as Mr. Chicago Conservative was forced to wait until the crowd died down due to his vocal opposition to the city's sanctuary status. Quote, "Who are you loyal to?" Mr. Chicago Conservative asked. "The American citizens here in Chicago or the illegal immigrants here in Chicago?" Of course, we all know the answer to that. The sanctuary law that Mayor Brandon Johnson allowed criminals, drug dealers, and now terrorists. We have terrorists in our city now, he continued before the crowd temporarily shouted him down. However, most speakers during the public comment period were adamantly against any changes to Chicago's sanctuary law. Quote, "All the black people and Latinos in Chicago who are caught up foolishly calling for these deportations quit sounding like the rabid white racists and wake up and get off that garbage," said another individual. Wow, we sound like racists because we want to protect our streets, right? Had it passed, the proposal would have rolled back an amendment that was made to the Welcoming City Ordinance in January 2021, which eliminated any exceptions to the city sanctuary policy. Previously, the Chicago Police Department was allowed to work with ICE agents if migrants had an outstanding criminal warrant where in the city's gang database or had been convicted of a felony or carried a pending felony charge. That 2021 ordinance, a campaign pledged by then Mayor Lori Lightfoot, was passed overwhelmingly by the council's liberal majority by vote 41-8. This is just ridiculous, according to NBC Chicago. So you got felons, and you want to keep them in your city? Like, why? Why would you want to keep these illegal felons in your city? When first proposing their amendment earlier in January, Lopez and Tabares argued that allowing for more ICE cooperation would be better for the safety of the city's immigrant community. I agree. Quote, "We believe that the best way to protect law-abiding non-citizens from the returning Trump administration is by working with them in apprehending their priority targets, non-citizens that choose to engage in dangerous illegal activity once they are in the United States, Lopez argued in a public statement. Our current welcoming city ordinance prohibits any cooperation or coordination or cooperation, even in the most heinous situations. Like, this makes no sense to me. Why would you want to protect these people that are felons, that are, I mean, are really bad criminals? They've committed heinous crimes. Why would you want to protect these people? This policy is dangerous to those law-abiding, undocumented, and non-citizen residents because if someone is arrested or convicted of crimes, the federal authorities aren't notified. The alderman said of the current law, should the federal government go looking for those specific individuals seeking to deport them, there's a high probability that other targets, law-abiding, undocumented, non-citizen residents, may be apprehended and deported as collateral damage. I agree. I agree with that. Johnson himself has remained a stalwart defender of Chicago's sanctuary status, having vowed to fight President-elect Donald Trump's immigration enforcement agenda shortly after he was reelected to the White House. In addition to the city's policies, Illinois state law also restricts cooperation between ICE and local enforcement. I believe a lot of these people are in the hip pocket of George Soros. George Soros is running this stuff. Him and his foundation, his Open Border Society Foundation, is backing these people that are for these open borders. That's the only reason they are for it, is because they are being paid to be for it. But law enforcement authorities in September confirmed that Tren de Agua gang members have been arrested in Cook County, where Chicago is located, on weapons and narcotics charges, and internal emails obtained from the Cook County Sheriff Office confirmed that members of the Venezuelan prison gang are in the city, according to NBC Chicago. The arrival of Tren de Agua, which has coincided with the city's own migrant crisis, has been linked to a rise in crime and has led to concerns of an impending turf war between their members and local city gangs, according to Fox 32. Chicago officials have welcomed in roughly 43,000 migrants since August 2022 and have so far spent around $150 million to house and accommodate them amid the border crisis that began under the Biden-Harris administration. Many of the asylum seekers are from Venezuela and have largely been bussed into the city by Texas Governor Greg Abbott, as he has sought to relieve his own state government. Regardless of how corporate Chicago law enforcement will, regardless of how cooperative Chicago law enforcement will be, Trump has pledged to move forward with history-making deportation actions. Thank God. Incoming border czar Tom Homan, and he's not playing around, previously told the Daily Caller News Foundation that he will simply deploy more ICE agents to sanctuary jurisdictions that refuse to cooperate, and he warned that any individuals that obstruct ICE mission will be held accountable. Thank God. So I'm interested to see how this is going to play out with the federal government going against Chicago and their their sanctuary city status. But y'all leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.